Hamas because of some of the positions of the Charter, etc. You engaged with the PLO at the time when they did not chip down the Charter. You engaged with the North Koreans. Why then take exception when it comes to Hamas? You don't need to agree with them. We can have strong reservations against them. But why do you punish them just because you tend to disagree or the perceived blunders or mistakes of the past? So my point, if you want to talk about engagement, you must engage. And you cannot therefore be selective. The failure of the past administration and initiative, not only insofar as the Arab-Israeli question is concerned, throughout the Muslim world, you just have this perception, either they are Islamists or Islamic movements or the Muslim Brotherhood, therefore they must be cut off completely from the scene. Unless they are perpetrators of violence, clear with them. I do not condone them. But otherwise, you have to engage. I mean, that's my point. Otherwise, there's not going to be, there'll be contradiction. Do you mean to say that you can condone all excesses of the Israeli regime, the transgression? Does it mean, therefore, that I do not agree that you should engage with Israel? I'm for engagement with Israel, including my Muslim governments or Arab governments. But why then the exception to this perceived or so-called violence by Hamas? And that's the point. And I think the administration must have the courage to deal with these issues. And I think a lot of Americans of high distinction have called for a shift of the foreign policy to be seen to be reasonable and fair. And that is why the call even to engage with some segments or sections of the Taliban. You mean to say, as a Muslim like me, would condone the Taliban excesses? I don't. In fact, I think it is a disservice to Islam in some of their policies. But do I agree to engage with them? Yes. Do I support the Malaysian government for the atrocities, the oppression, the beating of political prisoners, including myself? Of course, I detest. But do I support engagement with them? Yes. So I think, of course, at varying degrees, you have to do this. That is my first point. The second issue is democracy. And this, I worry when you talk about taking time. You mean to see you are so totally semi-literate and ignorant and blatantly corrupt that for 50 years we are preparing capacity building. Why do we need Americans to build capacities in Egypt and other countries? Why can't we do it and take the initiative? Why can't the entire area have this resolve to push? What is the difference between Egypt and Indonesia? Indonesian transformation towards a democracy was very fast. Yet there were lots of problems. Development, abject poverty, corruption. They had them resolved. And now it is considered to be, the change again was made, a transformation towards a vibrant democracy. So what the United States is doing in many areas in Indonesia, to me, is something very positive. I would urge them, Australia, to do more in terms of building these institutions. But once we accept the fact that we cannot impose, it's not Washington dictates. You mean to say we clamor for reforms and change, oppose the Italians, oppose the French and the colonialism in this country, the British, because we want to be subjugated by this corrupt ruling clique. We want freedom for our people. And that's what I believe as a Muslim, with very consistent with my understanding of the maqasid of the Sharia. Where you respect freedom, human dignity, rights of men and women, sanctity of life and property. Without that, I think it's totally irrelevant. It is therefore pertinent, and should be, thank you for your patience, very pertinent that Muslim voice are more pronounced in this. Look at Indonesia's slide example again, when there's the latest bombing in Jakarta. The outrage was total from the far left to the far right, to the Islamists, to the secularists, all condemned. And I thought, I was in Jakarta, I said, in a matter of weeks, they will find those groups. You know why? Because the outrage was total. It's not, it doesn't happen in most Muslim countries. Because they give all sorts of excuses and rationalization for some sort of terrorist activity. But in Indonesia, because it is inclusive, because the media is free, because people are free to express themselves, and this detest sooner we move towards appreciating the fundamental Muslim value, that is freedom and human dignity, the better it will be for our societies. Thank you.
Wonderful things to end on. I really wanted to comment, but we're running a little late. Let's thank our panelists for a very frank and insightful conversation. And thank you all for coming early with the jet lag.